Get your mind out of the gutter.
Lapdashes. Dangerous. Okay, Hillary Clinton was at the Trayvon Martin Foundation. There is such a thing. It's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She was there last night responding to the speech Donald Trump gave when he got the endorsement of the National Rifle Association. She went pretty far over the top. So if you're groggy this morning, wipe the sleep out of your eyes. And remember, this is real. Watch.
Now, we know the gun lobby is powerful. I believe it's the most powerful lobby in Washington. And we know that some candidates will say or do anything to keep them happy. If you want to imagine what Trump's America will look like, picture more kids at risk of violence and bigotry. Picture more anger and fear. Ask any of the mothers here tonight if they want to live in that kind of America. Enough is enough.
Donald Trump was on our show earlier to respond to her saying that he's pandering to voters there before the NRA crowd. And he says she's actually really hypocritical to have these Secret Service around her, these bodyguards that are armed heavily. Listen.
Well, first of all, they're just words. She reads off a teleprompter. You notice she's reading off a teleprompter. She always does. She really doesn't have her own words. I'm not advocating guns in classroom, but remember, in some cases, and a lot of people have made this case, teachers should be able to have guns. Trained teachers should be able to have guns in classrooms. As far as bigotry, our country right now has never been so divided as it is right now. We have a president who's a total divider, and Hillary is weak. She's a weak person, and she's not going to be a president that will be. It'll be 4 more years, and probably 4 more years even worse than what we've been going through.
So Hillary makes the point, imagine what Donald Trump's America would look like. I don't know what it's going to look like, actually. I know what Obama's America looks like, and he's right, it is more divided. People hate each other more. There are so many people living on the street behind me. I passed like 5 of them on the way to work this morning. This country is in a lot of trouble. That's the only reason Trump exists, is because people are completely freaked out about the way it's going. And the last point is, this is a president who's pushing transgendered bathrooms on a country that doesn't even know what they are. That is the action of someone who seeks to divide, intentionally seeks to divide the country. So don't lecture me about division.
And that anger, also what Bernie Sanders has been tapping into across this country. He's been fired up and angry at Debbie Wasserman Schultz. In fact, his campaign has basically been saying, you know what, her Twitter account, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is rivaling, if not exceeding, the disgusting tweets that he says Donald Trump has been putting out. And he's fired up. He says, look, if she's facing an election right now in Florida, he says he's not going to support her. He's supporting her opponent. Listen.
In Florida, are you with Wasserman Schultz, or are you with her opponent?
Well, clearly I favor her opponent. His views are much closer to mine than Wasserman Schultz's. And let me also say this, in all due respect to the current chairperson, if elected president, she would not be reappointed to be chair of the DNC.
They've also complained in the past about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the placement of those debates on Saturday nights that wouldn't draw large crowds, and the Sanders campaign not having access to some files and data for a period of time that the Clinton campaign was allowed access to that could have brought on even more supporters. They say that the system is rigged for Hillary Clinton against Sanders.
Boy, is it? Is it rigged?
And look at it, superdelegates. Look
what's unfolding, the new rules changes among the conventions. We don't want Bernie Sanders supporters to speak out. We don't want anyone being heckled during these live conventions. Hillary Clinton was just asked on Meet the Press to respond to this with Chuck Todd. Here is her response to all of this. Listen to Hillary Clinton just moments ago.
And I wanted to make it clear that I know what this feels like, having lived through it. I have 3 million more votes. In the case of Senator Obama and myself, it was neck and neck in the popular vote. I have far more pledged delegates. It was much closer between me and Senator Obama. And I am going to be the nominee. And I want to spend a lot of my time, as you've seen me do, really taking on Trump, because I find what he says, the kind of candidacy he's presenting, to pose a danger to our country.
Chuck presumably asked her the question, because earlier this week she came out and said, I'm the nominee. I got this. It's not over yet. but I got this.
Whenever
was
you
the
say
response.
that, that's not a sign of strength. I think she probably will be the nominee. But whenever you have to come out and say, I'm already the nominee, that's a sign that you fear on some level you're not going to be the nominee. I mean, they're worried, and why wouldn't they be? This is very different from 08 in this one respect. It's an ideological contest. With Hillary and Obama, they agreed on everything, basically. Bernie and Hillary don't agree. He thinks she's a phony. His supporters think she's a phony. She's more of the same. She's the institutional candidate, and they're not into it. They don't like it. It's a religious movement for them. I don't think they're all going to back her. I just don't.
And it's also exposing how weak of a candidate she could be come November in the general election, that it's not going to be so easy for her.
Well, a matchup right now, new poll out this week, shows Bernie Sanders in a head-to-head matchup with Donald Trump would beat him. Hillary Clinton, head-to-head with Donald Trump, would lose.
That doesn't shock me at all, because Sanders, I think his prescriptions are insane and would turn us into Venezuela in a week. But I think his descriptions of what's going on in America are not that far off. It's a wage problem. People don't make enough money. They don't have enough jobs. The middle class is dying. That's all true, and Trump is saying the same thing. That's why they're both doing pretty well, because their messages are real, in my view.
Let us know what you think about all of this morning. Go to our Facebook page. We've got some great threads up there on FF Weekend. You can weigh in. Let us know your thoughts.
Always love to hear from you. 12 minutes after the hour coming up.